let's go back again and take a look at things from the ideal perspective. So in what I think would be, and I think a lot of people would agree, an ideal way to introduce new technology would be to look at like how this new technology is actually going to make people happier and more fulfilled, more satisfied, all those other things, right? So let's say we have AI, the way that I think ideally as a society we introduce it is, all right, like before we just open it up and let everyone start using it, like let's take a look at the impact it could have and make decisions. Oh, is the potential impact actually going to make things better? What changes could it have? What can we do to mitigate any potential side effects? Any potential negative externalities? That would be, I think, what most people would say is an ideal way to approach any new technology. Because it's not necessarily like we established earlier, it's not inherently better. New technology does not inherently make us happier humans, make our lives better. So given that premise, it only makes sense that in an ideal world, we look at, okay, like before we actually do this, let's do it right. Right? Let's actually figure out how to do this right so it actually makes things better. That's the ideal scenario, right? That's absolutely not how new technology plays out. That's not how AI is playing out. As we all know, or maybe you don't if you're not paying attention, which is fine. But the way it's playing out is it's a land grab. Everyone is like, oh, I need to get as much AI market share as I can, as quickly as I can. And I'm going to say things like, we care about ethics. We're going to do a little bit of work to make sure our AI doesn't say something that gets us a lot of bad press, right? But there's not let's take a step back before we release this and actually make sure it makes people's lives better. Instead, let's just go along with this narrative that technology inherently makes our lives better. It's just progress. It's advancement. That is profitable for us. So let's go along with that. So if you hear that, if you even think that, if you think, oh, technology is progress, if you equate those things, I would challenge you to take a look at where that narrative is coming from. Because I suspect it's coming from the people that are going to profit from those technologies. They love that argument, regardless of whether it's true or not, because with that argument, they don't need to deal with potential negative side effects because people will just go, they'll defend them. They'll go, yeah, there might be some negative things, but we'll figure it out. It's just important to make progress. Making progress is the ultimate goal. Again, I don't cares about whatever you call as progress. That's not progress. What matters is making our lives better as humans. I don't give a about AI if it doesn't make our lives better. That's what it comes down to. But that's not how any logical company is going to behave, because that's not the system we exist in. So yes, I am exploring AI. I'm exploring this new technology. And my, goal in this podcast is to educate and help people learn how to effectively use technology, whether that's React, software programming, or AIs, whatever that happens to be. I take it on myself to come to all of you and be like, I want to give you the best possible education and information I can so that you can effectively utilize these technologies. But at the same time, I don't see it as, inherent progress. And I can't, I feel like I can't necessarily make this episode on how to effectively use AI to be a more efficient programmer without just coming out and saying, I don't necessarily think that the way in which this is happening, the order in which things are happening, the speed in which things are happening, the way in which things are happening when it comes to AI and the development of AI is inherently good or inherently progress. That's just not how I feel. And so it needs to be said, because I think if it's not said, it's easy to imagine that just because it makes you a more efficient React programmer. It's easy to be like, oh, this is making programming better. This allows us to create more programs faster, and just think in your head, oh, this is better. But I'm just going to come out right now and say, maybe not. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it's not inherent. It's not a given. It's not like just a guaranteed progress or advancement.